And my old
Cryptocurrency.
views on this, because I used to run a fund in the space and I diligenced some of these assets. Shouldn't say diligenced. I wrote valuation reports on them, trying to get an understanding of how you value these things, because they have very unique fundamentals and network dynamics and all that. So I used to view this space as kind of like liquid venture capital, but I'll tell you what, past few years, I knew there were a lot of scams in the space, but the realization to me is that it's a lot more scamming us than there is any venture capital, if at all. And I've come to see it more, the alternative space is kind of like this expression of the human temptation to engage in money printing. Like everywhere there have ever been humans and the ability to print money, we've done it. We've just always done it. People can't resist the temptation to print free money. And it's kind of like what alternative coins are doing, it appears to be, is they're just trying to create their own little economy, own little currency or monetary system. And, you could say there is this sort of blurred line where early stage ventures also kind of have to fake it till they make it to some extent. They have to represent, they're going to build this software and they're going to change the world in all these ways to go and raise capital and, hype up a community and actually create some change. But with the crypto world, it does seem like they're trying to there's a lot of this, we call it Dino, decentralized in name only. They're trying to just kind of orange wash their projects and say what Bitcoin did for money, we're going to do for whatever media, fill in your use case here. And I don't know that that's exactly possible, because you don't really engineer decentralization. There's kind of this idiosyncratic sequence of events, and it doesn't, in my mind, at least today, it doesn't seem like you can apply it many places other than money. Like we're talking about doing this with stocks or securities and other things. Well, all of that grounds out in some centralized party, right? The nature of a security is that there's some political apparatus that's labeling that thing a security and regulating it. So you can't decentralize securities markets or stocks. And, I would say that maybe one way to look at this is human beings have always organized themselves into groups to deal with problems, because we deal with problems better in concert than we do in isolation. This is how culture develops. But, every early culture is also a cult initially. So I think a lot of these crypto projects are like little money cults. I have a conversation coming out with Corey Clipston on some of this later, but it's kind of an interesting dynamic. I will add this, though. I don't think, even with all the pain that is information that we're seeing today, I don't think it's going to be enough, because what it's going against is accelerating currency debasement. And if you study the history of money failing, as currency gets debased faster and faster, people start to engage in more and more risky behavior. Like the demand for gambling devices goes way up. And that's pretty much what this whole space is like, it's a lot of gambling devices. Ultimately, maybe, like, I'm going to have enough humility to say maybe there's some unrealized theory out there that I don't understand, that maybe there's one use case that will emerge of all these tens of thousands of projects over the next few decades. But for you to find that one diamond in the rough is so astronomically unlikely that you really should just stick to Bitcoin. It's almost like a useful fiction. We treat every gun as if it's loaded. Well, every gun's not loaded. We know that, but treat every gun as if it's loaded so you don't blow your head off. Well, treat every coin that's not Bitcoin like a shit coin, and you'll not blow your head off.
Well, I know you've got a response, and I know you've only got 4 minutes. So
no, I mean, I actually agree a lot with that. The cult and culture being really important to building the community and the ethos. But isn't that what was at the core of Bitcoin in the early days? And it was powerful, right? And it created this non-sovereign money, which is a really important innovation. Yeah, and now we're seeing it put to other uses.
Well, it's the fundamental difference there is, it seems to me like decentralized consensus, blockchain, and the achievement of decentralization only works for money right now. And I see money as kind of a winner-take-all marketplace. We have one analog gold for a reason. We end up with one digital gold for a reason. I don't know how you map that idiosyncratic sequence or pathway to decentralization onto any other use case. I don't see that clearly.
I mean, you look at it as coordinating video transcoding with LivePeer or coordinating RPC nodes with Pocket Network. So I mean, there are a lot.
Those are all
coordinating
centralized.
functions.
Why do you need a blockchain for any of that? This is the question that I've been asking for 8 years that no one has given me a satisfactory answer to. You don't need a blockchain for any of that, and you certainly don't need a token. And this is the thing that frustrates me about VCs. They justify making a token when it's exactly like what Robert said. You're making your own central bank and getting to print your own money and making justifications and rationalizations for it. This is like immoral at a very high level, because the people that suffer are the suckers at the very end that buy this stuff and go through these market crashes. And it's not even people, the poor people in the United States. It's people in Iran. It's people in Nigeria. It's people in Turkey. These are the people buying all of these altcoins that all the VCs are dumping on them. And you're saying that, and you're justifying it with, oh, we're making new tech for this industry or that industry. And I'm never going to admit that this is a complete scam. I find that kind of attitude just unconscionable, because you're essentially stealing from the poorest of the poor to enrich yourself by being your own central bank. It's ridiculous to me, the justifications that people come up with to justify doing
Jimmy, what's wild?
Because he has to go.
Yeah. I have to jump in one second, but what's wild to me is what we see here, and again, like, we're not dumpers, and what we see here is opportunities for people to participate in the development of these businesses, where right now they are not able to participate. And so you look at what happens when a business grows into something large. The customers don't get to participate in that. And this is the ability for everyone to contribute their code, contribute their business development skills, contribute to the expansion of the network, and engage in the growth of that network in a way that they can't in the traditional world. So to me, it's much more.
They want their narrative
much more inclusive. Well, no, but what we're seeing today is very different from 2017 in the quality of the projects that are coming together.
This is the same exact narrative.
I believe in progress. I believe.
Oh, we're going to let people participate in all this stuff. We're going to let people go into these startups and capture some of the value. All the value is going to the VCs, and you know it. You're getting all of these tokens at a massive discount to the public, and you're getting to dump it on them, and you're at least neutral.
I know the coin fund is not
anything else
dumb.
is gravy. So you
to be clear,
we are not ridiculous. The narrative you guys come up with.
Yeah.
No.